All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 60-Day Law Firm Intranet with Michael Best. I'm Timothy Willis. I'm the VP of Collaboration and Cloud Services at KL Software Technologies. This is Emma Bassett. Emma, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Tim. I'm Emma Bassett. I'm a product owner here at Michael Best & Friedrich. My primary focus is improving technology, processes, and the ongoing support of our products. One of my products is SharePoint, so that's why we're here to talk about how we built a SharePoint site in 60 days.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today, Emma. Just to address those that are in attendance, we do have some polls that are started. We'll continue to introduce them throughout the webinar, so you can go ahead and give those a look in your input. We would value it very much. All right, Emma, let's get going.
Okay. So I want to start with what drove us to a new solution. So we are on SharePoint Online. We migrated there in 2018, and we previously came from SharePoint 2016. One of the reasons we wanted to upgrade our site was because it was built on outdated, unsupported platform called ElevatePoint. Don't know if you've ever used it before, but it has a classic SharePoint feel. And so we wanted something that we could update. Well, one of the problems we had was the custom HTML code. You know, we would change it and then it kind of would mess other formatting. It just didn't have that modern design that we were looking for. So we just wanted to move away. I guess the final straw was the web parts. Some of them stopped working. We were getting error messages. So we really just wanted to redo our site. So the objectives that we were looking at on what we wanted, what we're looking for, is we really wanted to remove the legacy ElevatePoint code. We wanted a modern design, easy, intuitive. We wanted to enable our content owners to make the updates themselves and not depend on technology to do that. We wanted something, to improve the navigation, the content, the structure, just make it really clear, easy to find the content that they're looking for. And we just wanted to make sure it was frictionless. We didn't want a huge communication to go out. We just really wanted people to launch the site and say, wow, this looks nice.
Yeah, we can see from some of the screenshots that you have here that the old Intranet was using some of the classic pages, and bringing those into the modern view was probably a big concern of yours.
Yes, it was. So, what did we try? We tried to build a SharePoint site in-house just using the out-of-box web parts. But you could see from the screenshots, it didn't exactly look the way we wanted it to be. We had a vision, centralized around news and calendars and office and content and stuff like that. And it wasn't going according to plan. So we thought, okay, well, this is not working. And again, I'm not a SharePoint developer. I'm a product owner. I have many products to support. So we thought, well, maybe we should reach out and see if we can get someone to help us build a site that is what we're looking for. Still using some of the SharePoint out-of-the-box capabilities, but again, looking for that functionality that we wanted. So why did we go with Legal101? Like I said, we wanted that modern, clean experience, easy navigation. We wanted something fast, that we can spin up quickly. We just wanted to make sure that we had that clean document visibility. We wanted to, again, work on our communication. We're centralized around communication, so we wanted that news hub, and Legal101 offered that to us. So we were able to link up with the existing product we have. It's like a daily Insider Digest email that goes out. We linked it up to the hub, and now we have news going out daily. We rebranded our daily Insider email to kind of match our site. And then since then, it has increased our adoption. Our calendars or events are being publicized more. Our news is publicized more. So we're really seeing that it's helping us.
Yeah, and One thing that we didn't mention here, but I can see in your screenshot, is that it's all mobile friendly.
Yes, it is. So some of the key features that we were looking for, like I said, we wanted centralized around the news. So you can see we did 2 news web parts. We got the hub and the hero banner, and then we also just have another news web part on the side. We wanted to centralize around, firm links. We want to share links, but we also wanted links to be accessible. We used to have it on the mega menu, but we thought if we put it in the middle of the page, it also cleans up the menu. And then what we also wanted was a place to display our policies and guidelines, not only making it more visible for everybody so that they know what our policies are, and then also how do I questions. So we get a lot of frequently asked questions through not just technology, but everybody. So we wanted a place, if you're new or you've been here a while, but you're just looking for a question, we wanted to make sure some of those answers are easily accessible for you.
Yeah, in the personalized favorite links, this is a feature that allows users to set their own links for the firm to provide custom links based on specific personas or general firm links display of those. Also, it ties into your navigation. So even if somebody has a favorite link that they've modified on their homepage, that link should be available to them throughout their intranet through the navigation.
Some of the cool features that we did utilize is resources. So instead of putting this all, links inside of pages, we centralize them under resources so they're quick and easy for people to access that content. Another cool web part that we use is called People Viewer. It's supposed to be like a firm org chart, but we took it and found a way to display not just our leadership members, but committee members. This was on our old SharePoint site. It was like a whole list of committee members, and it was hard to update. So we used the People Viewer to centralize this content.
Yes, this was the first time we saw our firm org chart be used in this capacity to surface committees and PG managers and admin operations office managers, but it definitely meets the requirement. It allows you to, instead of having 3-4 pages that are catered to displaying people information that is specific to management, we can just take care of it right here and surface that information across the intranet with just a couple clicks. So
how we use the Legal 101 for our news. So they already had a news hub page that displayed all the news articles. We sometimes tag our news articles either by practice group, office, or department. So the cool thing is it can filter by, based on what's in Azure. So I'm from technology. I'm in the Waukesha, Wisconsin office. At the bottom of my page, it filters down by my news. That's more for me. But it also allows me to search old news, today, last week, all news, because sometimes, news is not just today, it's stuff you're looking for in the past. So it's a great way to centralize all this information.
Yeah, I do think that you were the first firm to use all the capabilities of our news hub. And it was really great to just see every single one of them shine. When you navigate to the page, it shows you targeted news based on your user profile and your Azure and your Intra ID profile properties. And then you can break it down by your department, your practice, your office, filter by those things, and then leverage a configurable date range, which you can allow for other users to use as well. And then also the showed expired items, where it allows you to surface all of your news.
Yes, it was super handy. Thank you. How we updated our department and practice group pages. We just wanted something modern. Again, this is very simple for our content owners to update. They have already started making updates since we went live with our site, so that's fantastic. We use some of the native SharePoint web parts, but we also used some of the Legal 101 where we centralized some of our links using lists, so that if you do share the same link on multiple pages, we just have to update it in one spot. And also the dynamic contacts were important for us because, not only do people join and leave the firm, but to continue making these updates is such a manual process. So we linked it to their Entra IDs so that these automatically just update.
Yes, this demonstrates not just Legal 101 capabilities, but also what we can provide within our services. The requirement for contacts was a little bit unique for MicroBest, so we just spun up a web part that is specific for them and deployed it, and it's maintained within their DevOps. But we also have a capability similar to this that just didn't meet the UI requirement quite. So in Legal 101, you can do this, but it's a little bit more search-based. And yeah, you can see both of those things. We have Legal 101 web part that gives you control over links that are shared across the tenant. And also you can see here something custom that just fits right in with the rest of what we have going on between SharePoint out of the box and Legal 101.
We also took it a step further and made sure that we had an easy way to update our Office pages. Unfortunately, like Office contacts, we couldn't, link that to Entra, but we do have a list that makes it easy for our content owners to update the contacts, the Office links, hotel recommendations. So this was just a good looking page. So.
Yeah, again, this just demonstrates what can be done with the KL Software Technology Services contract. There is a very big need for centralized management with such a small IT team taking care of all of it. So we spun that up and we're able to deliver that all very quickly.
Another important feature for us was a firm directory. So previously, we had a firm directory that we used Power BI to show our contacts information, but we had issues with it because the export button kept breaking, the content wasn't accurate anymore, and so we just had so many issues. So to find something that allowed us to search for, contacts directly in Azure was helpful for us. We were able to enhance this a little bit so to fit our needs, because unfortunately there's some contact information we need. So this was just a great fit for us. The other thing that was really important is searching our news articles and pages. So we use the Intranet to search for this information. So this was also very helpful for us.
Yeah, the search capabilities within Legal 101 are definitely something that is adopted by just about everybody that purchases it. It's a great feature. Not only does it provide the directory or Entra ID search capabilities that MicroBest uses, but it allows you to surface information from our data mapper capabilities, and that includes people information that might be stored outside of Entra ID, client information, matter information, client group information, and more.
So let's talk about what we learned. We learned a lot of things from this project. We learned don't go at it alone because we tried and it did not go well. I would say if you're going to use a migration tool, get that set up in advance, because we kind of had a couple delays in our project because we ran out of enough licenses. So we were just, it added a little time to the project. So I would say if you could set that up early, I would do so. And then don't migrate unnecessary content. Well, we migrated everything. So now I'm going through the process of cleaning up that old content so that our new site is just relevant current information. And then I would say build time into the project. So like I said, we had issues with the migration tool, getting that set up in time. So we had a little time built into the project, But again, I didn't think we were going to be able to do a SharePoint site in 60 days, so we built in time. And then what helped us succeed? Well, we partnered with KLST and their Legal101 platform, which was a great help to us, and it really sped up the project. Instead of building a custom site, I would definitely recommend a migration tool. Like I said, we used AvePoint, so that was helpful. I know there's other tools out there that you could use. Tim and I actually had a migration spreadsheet, so that helped us map out library sites. This sped up testing, so I didn't have to go find all the links and URLs to test each page. I could just go to the spreadsheet, click, 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 and I could easily test them out and make sure they were all looking great. And then I think the biggest success is giving the power back to our content owners that they can update and make sure these pages stay up to date. A successful site only works well when your site is accurate.
That is so true. And it looks like we should have some more polls coming through right now. If anybody in the audience would like to address those. We do have one question. You mentioned AvePoint. What other tools is KLST familiar with? We've used ShareGate, Metalogics, and we've provided custom PowerShell for not just other projects, but actually during the Michael Best project, we realized that there was a gap in the AvePoint tooling to bring over the links lists. So we wrote some custom PowerShell to migrate over the custom links lists as custom lists and give them the same views that they had in their previous implementation. And then looks like this one was for you. You mentioned minimal change management was a goal. Does that mean attorneys generally found it intuitive, or are there adoption gaps that you're still working through, Emma?
I thought it was pretty intuitive. I mean, sure, it's finding their pages again, but we really tried to put their information back where it was. So if it was on the mega menu, we made sure it went back to the mega menu. But again, I also worked with our service desk team, giving them the knowledge of where to find stuff. We had meetings with our content owners, showing them the changes, how they can make the changes. So yeah, I thought it was pretty intuitive. I did not get a lot of feedback when we went live.
Well, that is great for your users, but I have a question for you. What's the honest cost of ownership once the 60-day build is done? How much internal effort does it take to keep your intranet healthy?
I would say since going live, we've had very minimal hands into our SharePoint site. I mean, I do have a team that helps update the site, but we just haven't had to have the same involvement like we used to have with our old SharePoint site. So I think it's going well.
You're telling me there's no more HTML coding? That's all gone from your old solution?
Only if we build it. But no, we're not seeing those pop-ups. We're not seeing those error messages. And, you know, like I said, it was just simple pasting text into it, and things were not formatting right. It was a lot. So we're just not seeing those same issues anymore.
Well, I'm happy that we could help you with that. Did you want to continue with the slides?
Yeah, so I want to talk about since we went live. So it's only been a few months since we went live, but we've seen some increased adoption and engagement into not only to our news articles. I mean, we never saw this turnout before where 200 people clicked on the same news articles. So that was a great success for us. Our firm directory, again, we already knew that was the top rated resource. Well, we're sure we can now see the activity on it. We had 122 unique views in 7 days, which I'm glad to know you people are using it, so we can actually get some analytics on this on some of our SharePoint sites that we couldn't get before. Again, it fixed by this updated firm directory, we fixed our data issues, the cleanup, the accuracy. So that was a huge thing for me. Again, we're just seeing some leadership support, and they're noticing some of the changes. So we're seeing more people use the calendar than before. Our content owners have taken, they just made updates. So we're seeing a lot of successful improvements to our SharePoint since the launch.
That's fantastic. We do have one more question. You partnered with KLST and Legal101. How did you divide ownership so the project didn't stall on approvals or handoffs between the organizations? I can share my perspective on this. I was the architect on the project, and we had Hannah, which was a huge help for organizing how we thought through the project. So having a good project manager, both on the KLST side and the client side, helps a lot just to organize how you're attacking the work. And then being organized with how you're doing updates, make sure that you're trying to combine like business functions as you work through things so that you're not overwhelming QA, and continue moving forward.
And now we are. I mean, we're seeing an increase of new pages. People are using our SharePoint site to centralize their content. So I think it's showing that we have a great site because we had a great team.
You do have a phenomenal team at Michael Best. It was a pleasure working through this with you. But yeah, let's continue on the next slide.
So what's next for us? Well, we're going to continue to make enhancements through our managed support with KLST. We're going to probably do some custom web parts, and we're going to work on our external data integrations with the data mapper, maybe pulling in some client matter information, people, financials, with our centralized data resources or data hub. And then we're going to work on retention policies around our news articles, site pages, document libraries, so that the information doesn't become static again. So we're still working through that and how we're going to build that, but then just continue our search expansion on people and our intranet.
Yeah, I think that this is where we get to have a lot of fun now that we've laid the groundwork for a really successful intranet. Getting the client and matter information in there gives your attorneys a way to find relevant information that they'll use day to day. The financial information, we've seen it used in a variety of different ways to track KPIs. It can be used within the context of a client and matter, or for a billing attorney or working attorney as well. Those are all built into Legal101, but we also do have a lot of features that work well with Power BI if you're already using that. Looks like we do have one more question. Content owners are now actively managing their own pages. What did our onboarding them actually look like?
We had multiple sessions with them. We showed them how to create news articles and how easy it is, because that was something we heard before is, news articles were taking a lot longer. They were harder to do. So we did multiple sessions just highlighting how to do it. And then we actually used news articles as knowledge articles. So, as new people join the firm, we wanted a way to say, hey, this is how you create news articles. This is how you update your content pages. And we can just share those out. And even though not everybody are publishers in the news, or they're not content owners, but we want to make sure those articles are available to them to make those changes. So we're using news as knowledge. And then we continue to push out new news articles saying, did you know that you can search better? Did you know you can find your content here? So we're using news as a way to tell people about our enhancements.
That's fantastic. All right. Did we have...
That's all I got.
If there's any more questions, feel free to ask them. I believe we have some additional polls that have been posted, so there should be a few more left in terms of polls, but we'll continue with the Q&A here. You're seeing organic adoption without heavy change management, but how are you measuring whether people are actually finding what they need faster versus just clicking around a shinier interface?
Well, I guess there's really no metric for that but I look at the analytics of the page, see what they're pulling in and who's viewing them and stuff like that. Well, not exactly who, but how many people are viewing them and that they're unique and not just me clicking on the same page 10 times. So it is hard, but I do believe that we are structured in a way if people want help, they ask for it.
Yeah, I have seen tools that allow you to see where people are clicking in SharePoint be used for this, but also one thing that you can feel as an IT professional is the stress on your help desk once a new intranet where it comes out. And I mean, how has that been going?
I actually checked in with my colleagues the other day. I said, how are things going? Are you seeing the tickets? Are you seeing the requests? Are you seeing a lot of changes? And it's like, honestly, no. What we saw before with our old site and where we are now, we're not seeing those same requests. We're seeing new things. People are asking for new capabilities that we didn't have with our old site. So like I said, I think we're more in an enhancement phase. I mean, sure, we do some updates. Our service desk team does work with our content owners. I work with our content owners, teaching, sharing, and just giving people that knowledge on how to do stuff. But yeah, we're not seeing that same stuff that we saw before. So I'm quite excited.
Yeah, I think that's a telltale sign of improvement when it comes to people finding what they need is you're not getting questions about where can I find this. So yeah, if there's any more questions, yeah, there we go. Your firm directory became a top visited resource almost immediately, as you shared in your slides. What was so broken about the old one that drove that adoption, or at least showed the disparity, right? Or is it more about what the new one does differently?
Like I said, the Power BI, we use Power BI for many things. It just, for some reason, it just was so hard to update and maintain. So like I said, we had a custom export button on our Power BI, and it looked at a script, and then it pulled down to OneDrive, and somehow the links sometimes were broken. I had to sign into OneDrive constantly to get the export to the Power BI. So it was a lot of manual work to keep that going. We also saw issues with content not updating. That was not Power BI. It strictly was a data issue. But again, if you can cut out the middleman and just link directly to Azure with their Enter ID, I thought that was more helpful, because that way we knew the information in Azure was more accurate than what was in Power BI. Because it's, like I said, the way we had our data warehouse is it had to go through many hoops and systems to get to Power BI. And I think if you can cut out some of those external data sources, it just makes things easier.
That's fantastic. And I mean, I'm not the most aesthetic, focused person. I like the architecture and the functionality stuff a lot. But I do have to say the firm directory is much prettier. With the card here. It was like a list before.
I mean, when you're in many offices, it's nice to know that this contact, you have a picture, you have information about them, you know who you're reaching out to. Where with Power BI, we didn't have pictures pulled in and stuff. So it just gives us a nicer layout and design. So it works better. So it's great.
All right. So But looks like we're still waiting on some results to come in with some of the polls. Let me see. All right. Okay, so for our poll, it looks like we have which Legal 101 capability is most compelling to you so far? And we've got the single pane of glass, centralized forms, updates, and resources. One thing that, we have focused on is updates, right? Lots of the value that we're seeing of Legal 101 for Michael Best is these updates, the central management of being able to take care of things and share them across your intranet with, an update to the firm links that you can just tag with the organizations that you want to surface that information on, and then you just add the web part to the page and select that organization and it just shows up. If you ever make updates to that link in the future, it's there for you. All right. Let me see if there's got like it looks like we're 1 minute over, but
Okay.
if there's QA, seeing any questions, and that does look like we have some more reactions to our polls. I'll just go over this last one if you don't mind.
No.
It looks like for our last poll, what would you like as a next step with some of our audience? And that is to receive more details and schedule a Legal 101 demo. We're looking forward to it. As you can see on the page, there you can find out more information about Legal 101. Use that QR code, schedule a demo. Raghav and I love to talk with you about it. Emma, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate this, and I am looking forward to all the updates and upgrades that we're going to make to your intranet.
Me too.